The offence was committed in Pré-de-Luche. That's a simple fact. So you don't start an investigation in Morocco or Spain or even Lisbon. This offence happened in Pré-de-Luche. It's a very self-contained resort, and that's where I think the answer is.
Dave Edgar is leading the search for Madeleine McCann. Today he's in Praia-da-Luz on the Portuguese Algarve to oversee filming of significant events described in witness statements. Statements which he believes strongly suggest that someone was watching the McCann family. He hopes that the reconstructions will lead to discovering who that someone is.
They may have been watching the apartment for a week or more. I don't think it was someone random. In my experience, random just doesn't happen. Someone just doesn't go in, pass her by and pick up a child and take it. These things are planned. Okay. This scene, you're standing over there now, okay, and you're standing at an angle. This angle. Sorry. Yeah. Action.
Witness number 1 is a British tourist. She first saw something strange 4 days before Madeleine disappeared.
I was walking along the road with my daughter when I saw a man. I grabbed my daughter's hand and pulled her towards me because for some reason he unnerved me.
Would that be good for you?
She saw the same man again, this time close to the McCann's apartment on the day before Madeleine went missing.
The next time I saw him, he was standing on the opposite side of the road to the apartment. He appeared to be watching it. He was about 5'10", slim build and wearing casual clothes. Jeans, I think. I would describe him as very ugly, pitted skin with a large nose.
And as you're just passing here, this chap will be stood over there. So if you just, when you come up, if you just glance over at him and...
The second witness is a schoolgirl who lives near the holiday complex. 3 days before Madeleine was taken, she was with her mum outside the McCann's apartment.
I was walking to the school bus stop. I go this way to school every day. As I was walking down the road near the apartments, I saw a man on the small path behind the block. My grandparents used to live in that apartment, so I always look at it as I pass by. The man seemed to be looking at the balcony of the ground floor apartment. He was wearing a black jacket and leaning against the wall.
She saw him again as well, the day before Madeleine was taken.
I didn't go to school that day because I had an ear infection. I was walking up the road with my 2 dogs when I saw the man. He was standing on the road opposite the Ocean Club and he was staring at the apartment.
You have been coming from your apartment, which is over here somewhere. You turn the corner and walk down the footpath.
Well, the two of us.
Yeah, the two of you together. Okay, this is actually a sketch that was drawn by the witness at the time. And as you can see, he's just stood just where we are now and made eye contact with him and then just walked straight on past.
Witness number 3 is a man with his partner from Cheshire. He gave a statement to the police describing a man he'd seen near the apartment.
I can't remember whether I saw the man on Wednesday the 2nd or Thursday the 3rd of May, but as we walked along the road, I saw a man standing next to the wall by the parking area. On the opposite side of the road was a white van. I paid particular attention to him because he appeared to be focused on watching the apartment block. As I walked past him, I looked at him, and for a split second we had eye contact. But then he just carried on staring at the apartment.
We're asking for people to come forward with information. For me, one of the big things is, in any sort of major crime, the perpetrators always confide in someone else. They've got to get it off their chest. And it's that person, as much as anything, that we're aiming at. that someone knows something.
Jerry is back in Praia de Luz. His arrival and the reconstructions are attracting a lot of media attention. But for the people who live here, it's attention they can do without.
This is an area that relies strongly on tourism, and people's livelihoods have been affected, and I can totally understand when people are suffering economically and that they get resentful. But I hope they can understand as well that as parents, we need to find Madeleine.
The simmering anger is evident. A brand new billboard poster of Madeleine with "Help Me" in Portuguese has been splattered with paint. And at the holiday complex, Jerry can hear the hostility.
No one, even with a heart of stone, can take away that there's a little girl missing. Why anyone would not want to help find her is a mystery. And obviously, if we find Madeleine, then everyone can move on.
He goes back to the Tapas bar, where they ate in the evenings while the children slept in the apartment.
I can't remember exactly where the table was. It's kind of in this bit, so it'd be about round here. And I was kind of sitting in this bit. I think Kate was here. Well, you can see where the shutters are now, and the bit of the hedge it's grown. It was cut, a couple of feet lower than that.
For the first time in 2 years, Jerry returns to apartment 5A of the Ocean Club. The last place where he saw his daughter, Madeleine, asleep in her bed.
And so I actually came in, and Madeleine was just at the top of the bed here where I'd left her, lying, and the covers were folded down, and she had her cuddle cat and blankie were just by her head. And it's terrible because I had one of those really proud father moments where I just thought, I just thought, you're absolutely beautiful and I love you. And I just paused for a minute. And then I just pulled the door, closed again, and just to about there. And I felt incredibly proud standing there and having, 3 beautiful children. Well, that's I think the most ironic thing of the lot, that momentary pause I had at that door, that's exactly what I felt like. A few minutes before our world was essentially shattered, and probably 3 or 4 minutes before Madeleine was taken. And we obviously absolutely, what's the word, persecuted ourselves for not being here. And there is no doubt that not being here at that moment increased the risk of it.
The McCanns were on holiday with a group of friends. In the evenings, they all ate together and took it in turns to make half-hourly checks on each other's children. 2 of the group, Matthew Oldfield and Jane Tanner, both crucial witnesses, have returned to help Dave Edgar with the reconstructions. It's believed that Madeleine was taken shortly after her father's check at 9 o'clock. In the 45 minutes that followed, there were 2 significant sightings of a man carrying a young girl. The first was by Jane Tanner. She was looking in on her sick daughter when she saw Jerry returning from his check. He was talking to a friend, Jez Wilkins, at the side of the road. However, Jane and Jerry remember the scene differently.
See, I think you were about here. And I think you were standing like that, and Jez was there with his pram pointing down that way. Because I think if you'd have been looking at me, because I would have said something, because I would have said about, because Kate had been moaning that you'd been gone a long time watching the football.
I'm almost certain that when I came out, I came over and he was here, and I was like that. That's my memory of it, is like Jez is 6'3" or something and looking up, and then turning in when I finished. That's my memory of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it just...
I mean, it's like I said, there are inconsistencies, you know, in every major investigation.
OK, that's fine.
Obviously, the most important thing is what you saw, Jane. It's not where Jerry and Jez were actually stood, because they didn't obstruct your view of the man you saw.
I was walking up here to do the check, and probably as I got to, it's hard to know exactly where, but probably about here, I saw the man walk across the road there carrying the child. So yeah, I just got up and walked out of the Tapas bar, past Jerry talking to Jez. That's when I saw somebody walk across the top of the road carrying a child. And I think I did think, oh, there's obviously somebody taking their child home to bed, but they didn't look like a standard tourist. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It just looks so much like somebody abducting a little girl when you look at it, and it just looks so obvious when you know, but just look at it and you think, why the hell didn't you think there is somebody abducting a child? But it's not even a thought that somebody's going to go into an apartment and, you know, take a child out. You know, you're probably the one person that could have actually stopped it, and you think, oh, what if? It's that what if, and you can take those what ifs to ad infinitum, really.
I tell you what, if you stand here, then
Do you want to go?
At 9:30, half an hour after Jerry's check, it was Matthew Oldfield's turn to look in on all the children. He went into the McCann's apartment, but didn't go into the bedroom, and so didn't see if Madeleine was missing.
Pretty much from the approach down here, you can see straight into the room, so you can see the cots as you were walking in. So it never really felt like there was any real need to sort of go all the way into the room. You could see both cots and you could see into them from there. I sort of ummed and ahed about the angle and things. All I just know is that I had an unimpeded view, and it was just dead quiet, and just thought, why I didn't take those extra couple of steps in.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this earlier, that at no point other than that night did I go stick my head in. That was the only time, because the door was like that for me, and I knew I'd left it.
And it's more that, you know, I felt like you'd done enough, you'd been, you'd seen, it was quiet.
And part of the reason we ended up coming through the back was the noise coming through the front door. You just thought you don't want to disturb them. It's stupid now, but...
It is possible that Jane Tanner is not the only person who saw Madeleine being carried away by the abductor. 40 minutes after Jane's sighting, and half a mile away from the McCann's apartment, a family also saw a man carrying a young girl away from the town. Later, the witness thought that this might have been Jerry McCann, but this was investigated and ruled out by the Portuguese police.
The man was seen here carrying a child just before 10 p.m. on the night Madeleine was abducted. When the man saw the family, he appeared furtive and veered off to one side and carried on walking. But obviously, anyone carrying a child at night, it's really important. We need to find out who this person was.
was with my family. We'd been out for the night and we were walking up this street when I saw a man and he was carrying a child. I thought they were father and daughter, so I wasn't so suspicious. The girl was about 4. She looked like my granddaughter, blonde hair, pale white skin, typically British. The man didn't look like a tourist. I can't explain why. It was probably from his clothes.
Someone knows the information, and someone knows who took Madeleine, and someone knows where she is. Let's get moving. Let's get the phone ringing.